Hey, Kyle. Welcome to the show, everyone. And, we're so excited today because Kyle is out there in the world. He lives a really interesting life. And we'll talk a little bit about that because he doesn't just sit still in one place. He actually runs his business, travels with his family. And I know so many of you find that really attractive. It's something you're sitting probably behind your desk or even in your cubicle right now saying, oh my gosh, I aspire to this. How can I, make more money and see the world and feel good about the life that I'm living? So, Kyle, I'm going to ask you the first question we ask everyone, which is, what do you know now that you wish you had known before you started your business?
Yes, it's that you do not have to sell your time. You don't have to work in your business as an employee. If you are doing employee level work within your own company, you have a high paying job. You don't have a business. So you want to be able to get yourself out of that and to be able to find rock stars that you can put in place to run things while you're away. So a lot of the people that I help are expert speakers, course creators, consultants, a lot of people in the online expert space. A lot of them, they have this, they might have a virtual assistant or something, but they don't have this infrastructure in place. You got to have people. I made the mistake in the beginning to where I was traveling around, but I was running everything in the business myself, and so was my wife. And that was a rough time. It's like we were traveling places, we were in these beautiful locations, but we were stuck inside the Airbnb. It was like we were
Mm,
in a cubicle, but it was a shape of an
right,
Airbnb, and we had a beautiful view out the window, but we didn't get to look at it much because we were so stuck into what we were doing. And that's a terrible feeling to be able to
right.
achieve what you want to achieve, but to realize that it's not fully what you imagined, and you get stuck in it. You become a slave to your own business if you don't do it right.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that's a lot of people. I think a lot of people are, hiring friends and family or they are in a situation where they're like, "Oh, I'm in this beautiful place, but I'm stuck behind my desk because I have to service all these sales or clients or what's coming in." And so you really can't enjoy it. It's basically should be what are those TVs that flash like beautiful locations? You might as well have just been, back
Oh
stable
yeah,
at home and showing one of those screens.
yeah.
What's been one of the biggest like lessons for you in business? Like whether it was when you got started or when you were scaling, like what are some of the big hits that you took that really taught you a lot?
Yeah, so I have a couple. The biggest thing is my experience door to door. So I've been in direct sales for 14 years now, and the beginning of that was door knocking, like hardcore sales in the hot sun and the freezing cold. And I would get doors slammed in my face. I would get guns pulled on me. Like there's twice where that happened. I'd get
Wow.
cussed out. And I'm like, so these other guys are killing it, and I'm over here having a super terrible experience. Why are they selling so much? I'm just getting cussed out. And I realized it was my energy. My
Mm,
energy was off. Sales is an energetic process. And if you focus more on making a genuine connection and making a friend first, creating this micro relationship, a feeling of a deep connection in a very short amount of time, then everything changes. Once I did that, people were inviting me in, cooking me elaborate meals, giving me $100 tip just for even speaking to them. And as a result, I started to get more sales. So I started raised through the ranks. I became number 7 top salesperson in the nation with direct TV. I
wow.
won a plaque and won a cruise and all of these cool things. But on that cruise, my wife and I were like, okay, so what's next? We can't be knocking doors forever. We got to build a legacy, something that we can be proud of. And I knew about Russell Brunson, that whole space, fell in love with the online coaching space. I burned the ships, quit my job at DirecTV, and went 100% into online.
Wow. Okay. I love that you were a ship burner because that doesn't work for everybody.
No, and it's not
But
recommended for everybody either.
yeah,
It's
I was gonna say that one is depending on how good your nervous system is.
yeah,
I'd say that that's an interesting path, but it also speaks to the commitment of being all in and being really clear about what you want and where to go. So congratulations on that. And
yeah.
I would
Thank you.
say there's one thing I do say about I'm not a big fan of organized religion, but I will say the Mormons do it right because they teach their kids young to go knock
Yeah,
on doors and sell Jesus. And I think that's pretty amazing because it's pretty hard. It can be a pretty hard sale. And especially for boys, I feel like when boys show up to the door, there's just a slight apprehension when there's a strange man at the door. I used to go to a really religious church, and we also had to do like outreach on Saturdays. And so I would go knock on doors also as like a teenager. And I just
Yeah,
remember
that's
being
scary,
like,
huh?
oh gosh, what's this going to be like? But people were way more receptive. They at least would like come to the door and kind of, hi. And I go, hi, just want to pray for you. How are you today? And, okay. And they'd open their door. And it was interesting because you're right. You learn about people, like being in any kind of people business is the way to get to understand and learn like how to connect with people, how people
Yes.
operate, what are people's fears. And especially in, I would imagine by the time you were done, you had a really clear idea of like, oh, maybe I'll wear a collared shirt, and maybe
Mhm.
I'll cut my hair a little shorter or whatever the little things were, the tweaks that you knew you needed to make to be able to get someone to open the door.
Yeah.
And that can be such a valuable skill going forward. I mean, the skill of connecting is never going to go out of style, no,
Yeah.
regardless of
Yeah.
how good AI gets at it.
I was going to say, especially with AI, people crave it now. They want that human connection. They want
Yeah.
that friendship. So
Yeah.
that transferred really well into the online space. What didn't transfer well is the grind hustle mentality. And I very
Mm,
much brought that door to door like attitude with me on the online space. I'm like, so
mm,
Facebook's like digital doors. Messenger, I just knock on people's profiles. I don't spam, but I make a friend. I connect, and I'm able to get opportunities. So with this mentality, it did get me some transactional income pretty fast. Not good transactional income. It was a lot of work for what we got, but it was enough to make me confident. And that's when my wife and I are like, okay, let's burn the ships again. We burned the ships a second time. We sold everything we owned. We fit the
wow.
rest of what we owned into suitcases and flew across the world to Europe. We're in Rome, we're in Croatia, Prague, all over France, staying in all these beautiful Airbnbs. But like I was telling you a little bit earlier, it was a grind.
Mm,
It looks good on social media, but we were only showing the good stuff. We didn't show the
mm,
heartache that came with just grinding all day long, hard hours. My wife doing 8 to 9 hours a day, me doing 13, 14 hours a day, and our daughter Eve, who was 4 at the time, on her tablet for hours and hours on end with no human
mm,
connection,
mm,
no, missing her parents, and we weren't able to be there like we wanted to. And we started getting to this spiral where like this is not what we imagined. This other people are not having the same experience. They can't be because this is not it.
right.
So it forced me to go and make some changes. A light bulb went off. I'm like, you know what? I used to build commission only teams for door to door. I could do that for this. I can have people come on, no base pay, no hourly. I pay them 10% commission to use their own profile to go make those connections for me. And that worked okay. I was able to rescue my wife out of that position, but it was still a grind for me because we were losing so many good salespeople. I couldn't
Mm,
retain anybody because nobody wants to grind like that. It's just a terrible way to do things. And it defeated the purpose of online. The purpose of online is to be able to use leverage to get to one to many. So I was forced to this point. I'm like, I have to figure out how to give my salespeople leverage. And I heard Russell Brunson talking about the Dream 100. For those of you that don't know, that's make a list of 100 influencers and A-level speakers that you can do a joint venture with or some kind of collaboration. It would wildly change your life forever. So I gave each one of my setters their own Dream 100. One day, one of my setters reaches out to me. He says, I got Joe McCall. And I had to take a double take. I was like, well, this is not the right Joe McCall because I knew that name. This guy's a 2 Comma Club award winner. He has a massive podcast, but it was him. It was the Joe McCall. And the way that he got him to say yes was he said, look, Joe, we don't have an audience yet, but we have a network. We have a couple people that we know that are pretty high level. We think that our friends would love what you have to say. Would you be down to come on and do an interview? And we'll send it out to the people that we know. And he said yes to that. So that's the implementation step, guys, is to compliment and give without expectation. Offer them a platform to tell their story. Even if you don't have a large audience, you have a network and you could
mhm,
potentially make them introductions. A lot of people say yes to that. And as a result of them saying yes to that, you can get onto their show. So with Joe
mhm.
McCall, long story short, we did $75,000 in revenue from that one interview.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, the right person, the right audience, you just never know. And what I like to say is hit the domino. Hit the domino, hit every domino because you just never know how far it's going to hit the next domino. Sometimes it does the whole thing and you get all, all 50. Other times it only goes to maybe 5 or 6, but every one of those count. And the more first dominoes you push over, the more you're likely to have that, residual effect. And that's what it's about. So great.
That's
I
it.
love that. Yeah, that's a nugget. That's a nugget, y'all. I love it.
Thank
I
you. And
love
yeah, and
it.
giving my salespeople the power to do that. Now
Yeah.
they're able to go make 6 figures as setters, and now I'm able to retain good quality people. But
Yeah.
a couple closing nuggets for you guys. If you want to know where to find these influencers and experts, go to Facebook groups, school communities. If you're in a mastermind, that's a good place to go. If you paid for a program that comes with a community, that's a filter, so you're going to have higher quality people in there that you can reach out to, and you guys have that in common. So you have that common ground to start that relationship. It's all networking.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
yeah, and if you're not part of those paid programs, then go to free groups, free school communities, but go to very strict ones that are led by influencers, and just go make friends. Don't try to pitch, you'll get kicked out.
Yep.
Don't try to give value when they don't know who you are yet. Just
Right.
go make friends, have conversations, create relationships, and opportunities will come your way.
Yep, that's exactly right. Yeah, and I would say that Kyle, that's so true. I realized just as an after effect how true that is because there's definitely certain groups I'm in, and it's always interesting because I'll get the pings in my inbox and they're just like, "Hey, I saw your post and I'm looking for blah blah blah." And so it's like let people be attracted to you versus you feeling like you have to go out and try to grab or make things happen. I think
Yes.
that's so important is just the energetics of also just allowing the ebb and flow to happen. And because you want the right people to come to you also. I think that's a really important point. People miss that sometimes. Kyle, how do people
Yeah.
get in touch with you and how do they, how do they reach out? How do they stay connected to you?
Yes. So I have a gift for you guys. It's a
Amazing.
script. It's a script for collaboration. If you want to have cross promotion relationships, this is going to get you on the right path. If you go to my website, that's all you'll find there is the script. It's scalesalesteams.com. Scalesalesteams.com. Or if you guys are seeing this on social media, can we have them comment below and then I can give it
Absolutely.
to them?
Comment below. Yes.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for having me here. I appreciate it.
Of course. All right, y'all. With that, make it a great day and remember, life is good.
Thank you. Bye, guys.